Hi guys, welcome to the video. In this video, we are going over how to train yourself to think more positively. I'm going to be giving you a very simple method to do this. It really is a lot more simple than you think. It doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be easy or happen, overnight, but I'm going to give you the method that's going to help you get there. So that's coming up next. Hi guys, my name is Dave and this is HeartSpace, where we are creating videos every single day to help you live life more in a free way. To me, that means being able to live life in the way that you want, do what you want on a daily basis as far as your career, your lifestyle, the people you hang out with, all that kind of stuff. So if you want videos that are going to teach you how to do that in all areas of your life, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell icon so you don't miss any of the content that we release. Now, like I said in this video, we're going over how to start thinking positively, something a lot of people want to be able to do, and I honestly believe a lot of people are overthinking about, because I, at one point in time, was really overthinking this area. Now, before we start, I want you to put in the comments, I am a positive thinker, and really feel it and really try and just wrap your heart around that statement, because by putting that in the comments, by reiterating these statements, by actually taking some action towards something, by writing it, stating it, putting it out there, you're helping to rewire your brain and actually make it more likely that you're going to move from that kind of place. So again, I am a positive thinker. Put it down there in the comments. Now let's get into what we have up on the board here. You'll see we have a few things written, a few words. So when it comes to positive thinking, you have to understand the reason first why you don't think that positively right now. And the reason is mostly because you were conditioned not to. From a young age, we observe our parents, we observe authority figures. We're basically like a sponge that's soaking everything up from the ages of 0 to 7. And so if you're not in an environment that is particularly positive, and most people are not, if you don't have people around you who are very positive thinkers and have that energy and speak in that way and act in that way, then that's not what you're going to soak up. And instead, you're going to soak up victim mindset. You're going to soak up complaints. You're going to soak up things and see how the world works based on what these people are saying from the ages of 0 to 7, or what they're saying as you are between the ages of 0 to 7. And so unless you're around people, and again, this is not most people, I'd say less than 1% have the fortune right now of being around people, their parents usually, who think in a very, very positive way. And it's no fault of their own. They were raised in a similar way to think negatively, to have a negative outlook in the world. It's a protective kind of survival mechanism that a lot of people fall into because they don't think consciously about these things yet. And that's fine. But we also want to understand that because we were conditioned in that way, we can also recondition ourselves in another way, using similar methods, and just by being aware. And so the first thing to understand with thinking positively is to first have some awareness about what you're thinking. And so I'll write that down right now. But you need to be aware first of your thoughts. And this is the first step with any form of learning. Because first thing to understand is you don't know what you don't know. If you're at the point of unconscious incompetence, you don't know what you don't know, you're not even aware of the thoughts that you're having, then all of this falls apart, because this takes a lot of conscious coming to this conscious effort in order to rewire our subconscious mind to what we want it to be. And so if you're going through autopilot all the time, unaware of what you're thinking, unaware of the effect your thoughts are having, then all of this falls apart, because this is something you need to do consciously. You, through this method, are going to be bringing yourself into the present moment, into almost a mindfulness meditative state more often throughout the day. And by doing that consistently is when you're going to get the results. The first thing is the awareness of the thought coming up. So let's say, now that you're aware that you want to actually change your thinking to a more positive level of thinking, you are now suddenly, just by declaring that, just by writing down below, I am a positive thinker, your brain is going to start looking out for moments where that's not true. And so now you're going to start bringing more awareness to your negative thoughts. And this is a good thing, because once you're aware that a negative thought is coming up, you have a choice. You can either latch on to that negative thought, or you can realize that it's just a thought, it's your conditioning from the past, and in fact, it's not who you choose to be. It's actually a voice from in the past, or a belief system that was thrust onto you from someone else. And so now that you have the awareness, I want to think positively, you're going to start to notice more of the negative thoughts that come up. And again, the idea is not to attach yourself to the negative thoughts. Your idea is not to use that as evidence that, you know what, I'm just negative or it's a negative world. The idea now is to catch them and to pause and interrupt the pattern. And so that's what you're going to do next. You have the awareness, the negative thought comes up. So this is going to be something you're going to do throughout the day. You're going to have it come up, and you're now aware that these are there. You're more conscious. You're more in a state of mindfulness. You're aware of it coming up. Next is just pause. You're going to pause. You're not going to allow that thought. We can also put this, and I should have written this already, but as observe. It looks like an R. That's supposed to be an E. So you're going to have now the awareness of your negative thoughts coming up. You are then, when a negative thought does come up, you are simply going to pause and observe the thought. You're not going to attach yourself to it. So maybe, for example, you have a negative mindset around money. I'm just using that as an example because that's one a lot of people have and a struggle area for a lot of people. So now you have the awareness that you want to start thinking a little more positively about money. So a negative thought comes up, you know, money doesn't grow on trees, blah, blah, blah. So instead of going like, yeah, that's true, which is grabbing it, which is like, yeah, that's absolutely true. Money doesn't grow on trees. I'm not abundant. And you're grabbing onto all of these things and you're telling yourself that it's true. Instead, you're just going to go, whoa, just pause. Money doesn't grow on trees. I'm not abundant. I don't have money available to me. You're just going like, who's even saying this? When you start to pause and observe, you start to realize, how can that be me if I'm the one observing the thought right now? And you'll eventually start to realize, wow, the thought is not me. The only thing that makes me feel like this thought is me is I keep attaching myself to it. I keep going, oh, money doesn't grow on trees. Yes, that's true. That's what I've learned. But if I just sit back and pause and allow the thought to be there and just do nothing, just pause and observe, and the thought's right there, you'll start to realize that it's not actually you, that it's coming from somewhere else. And so now you're pausing and observing, and now because you're doing this, this creates a space of possibility. It creates the space for a new choice to be made, which is what we're going to get into next. Now, I put here breathe, because what I want you to do is pause, observe, and just take a moment and breathe. Because when you breathe nice and deeply, you slow down your thinking mind. You can even see now that I'm talking a little slower. Your energy starts to slow. And so the energy of attachment also starts to dissipate. The energy of overthinking, which is almost another way of saying attachment. The energy of overthinking and attachment starts to fade away when you just breathe. So you notice the negative thought come up. That's the awareness. You pause and observe, and you breathe. Just a nice belly deep breath. So let me write that down there. So you breathe. Just a nice, peaceful, godly breath. And like I said, this is going to get you out of your head. Because guess what, guys? That's an interesting way of spelling head. It's hard to balance this while I actually write it down. But here's the thing, guys. When you actually pause and observe and realize the thought is not your own, you are removing yourself from the head. You are removing yourself from the thinking mind that wants to continuously just be going yap, 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 and attach to whatever that thought is. And so if you breathe nice and deep and you get in the moment and you just focus on that breath, you get out of your head and you drop into your body. You drop into your heart. You drop into the moment, which for a lot of us, we don't spend a lot of time in. And guys, just remember, all there ever is now. But because we are overthinking, we are in our heads so often, we're actually always in the now, but preoccupied with the past and the future. But when you breathe, you pause, you observe, you suddenly get into the moment. And that's when, again, that opportunity, that space opens up for a new choice, where you actually see this thought is not real. It's not my own. This is something someone told me when I was 5, and my subconscious latched onto it because I was a sponge and I was latching onto all these beliefs, and then it was reinforced through my primitive and that wasn't the right word, primitive years, but prepubescent years. I don't know the right word for that, but my early years. And so that's the only reason it's there. It's not something I chose. It's something that was given to me. And now I want to choose differently. And so you're aware of the negative thought, you pause, you observe the thought, you breathe and get the hell out of your head, get into your heart, and now there is a brand new space, a brand new opportunity to choose something different. And that's what this is. Choose a new thought. Because you have now created this space, this space between this negative thought and yourself, understanding that there is a separation. You are not this thought. It's not you. It came from elsewhere. It is not something that came from you. It came from elsewhere. So now you choose a new thought. And this is 100% within your control. Now, this might be difficult at first, guys, because your habit is probably to latch on to that thought, is to completely skip this, even if you have the awareness, and to just go with that thought and then go down the rabbit hole of that thought. Like, oh, money doesn't grow on trees. Look at all this evidence I have from the past of not having money, blah, 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 blah. But we can look at so much evidence to prove that thought is not true. That so many people who didn't have money ended up earning money over time, or things of that nature, right? So it doesn't mean it's true. You pause and observe, ask if it's true, breathe, get out of your head, get into your heart, and feel the thing you want, and then choose a new thought from this foundation. Because if you choose a new thought while you're still in your head, it's just going to be a similar thought to the negative thought you just had. You are going to attract that energy and keep going along that wavelength. But if you choose a new thought from being out of your head, from taking that breath, from realizing you're not that thought and you actually have a choice here, you're going to choose something different. You're going to choose what you actually want. So maybe now you choose a gratitude thought. One of, you know what, I'm so incredibly grateful for the wealth I have now. I'm so incredibly grateful that more and more is coming to me, and I know it is, and it's only a matter of time before it comes into physical reality. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have so many resources available to me to make money if I so choose. Now the original thought you had, the negative thought, is probably completely out the window, and you are on a completely different wavelength, and suddenly you are now thinking way more positively. So that is the general idea behind this, guys. Now, this may seem like a lot, but it's actually going to happen within a matter of seconds, because you're immediately going to have that thought come up, become aware, because now you have a goal. Now you're looking out for it. Now you have a vision. So your subconscious is going to be a little more aware of when these thoughts come in if you actually set a goal, a vision to think more positively, because then your subconscious will see the thought come up and go, whoa, wait a second, aren't we trying this? And then it'll be in your awareness. Now you'll know, just pause, observe, breathe. This is all kind of happening simultaneously, guys. So you pause, just take a moment to pause, take a second, breathe immediately. Keep the thought there. Don't try and force it away, guys. We're not forcing anything. If you try and force it away, you grab onto it. In order for me to move something away from me, I have to kind of hold on to it first. So don't try and force anything. We're just going to allow it to leave on its own accord. So you pause and observe and breathe. You can even ask yourself, is this even true? Is this even me? As you're breathing, and you'll realize it's not. This will get you out of your head, and breathe a few times if you have to. Just relaxing. It's okay. Don't overthink. Don't be thinking a million miles per minute. It's all right. Just breathe. Just get into the moment. Be in the moment with that thought instead of being in your head with that thought. And when you do that, you'll see it for what it truly is, and you won't attach yourself to it. So you do that, you realize, and then you can simply ask the question, who do I choose to be in this moment? Who do I choose? Now you're in the present moment. Who do I choose to be in this moment? And a bunch of new possibilities. Again, because you created the space, you didn't latch on to something, because when you attach to something, guys, you're closing off the space of possibility, of potential, because you're deciding that this is you, this thought is you. I'm attaching my identity to this thought. But when you release that and you don't attach, you suddenly have this empty space that can bring in something new. Because how can you fit something into something that's already occupied if you latch onto something? So now you have this new space and you get to choose a new thought. And so you could have that lack thought or whatever it is come in and go, okay, I'm going to choose something different. You know what? I'm going to focus on the abundance in my life. I'm going to focus on how I have health. I'm going to focus on the good things in my life. And guys, remember, what you appreciate appreciates. The good thing about thinking positively is as you continue to learn how to think positively, it trains you to think even more positively, and more and more and more, and more of these positive things will come into your life, because what you appreciate appreciates. And so the more you actually run this pattern, the more you actually use this, the better you're going to get at it. And the more thoughts that are going to bring you the ideas of actually going out and making money, being healthy and all that are going to come, because now you're able to choose a new thought. And here's the last thing I want to leave you with, guys. Remember, the universe flows consistently. Whatever you give the universe is what it's going to run with, as far as it pertains to you. Consistently. The universe flows consistently. And so the reason I emphasize that, or I added that down there, is because this is not something you do once and then everything changes. If you do this once or twice a day, but then the 60,000 other thoughts, and that's basically the number we're given for how many thoughts we have a day, 60 to 80,000. If those thoughts are then still all the negative stuff, well, the universe flows consistently. So you're still going to be training yourself to think negatively instead of positively. So you need to, again, use this as often as you can. Yes, it's going to feel hard at first. There's going to be a lot of resistance because this is new. But what's the other choice, guys? If you want to think positively, this is the surefire way to do it. And so the universe flows consistently. So just all you have to do is do your best. Every single day, every single moment you can remember, the awareness comes up that the thought's there, and you remember, and you will if you watch this video, because now it's on your mind. Now you've put the thing in the comments that's taking some action toward this. You're feeding your subconscious mind with this information, so it's going to start looking out for it now. The reticular activating system is something, when you start giving it information on what you want to focus on, it will start seeing it. Like you ever hear people say when they buy a new car, they'll start seeing it everywhere, because now suddenly your subconscious, your mind is focusing on that thing because it's in your reality. And so if you start saying you want to start thinking more positively and be a more positive person, you will become aware of, one, the positive thoughts, but also its opposite, the negative thoughts. And that's when you use this to completely change it. So whenever you remember to do so, and allow it to be a trigger. Allow when a negative thought comes up for it to trigger this process so that you're doing it automatically. And this is a skill like anything else. It becomes a habit. So like for me, for example, whenever I have negative thoughts, and I'm still working on this, I'm not perfect at it. I'm always just trying my best. And my best gets better and better the more I practice. But for me now, it's pretty in flow when I do this, where I just do it kind of automatically. And so a negative thought will come up. I'll bring it into my awareness. I'll pause. And I'll breathe if I have to get into the moment, get out of my head, and I'll be like, okay, I know this is just a thought, but I also know the power of thoughts. I know that I will receive back what I give the universe. Like attracts like. So if I want to stay in negativity, I want more negativity in my life, great, I'll think negatively. But if I want positivity, if I want health, wealth, abundance in my life, I need to be thinking thoughts along those lines. And so I'll use this process and I will choose a new thought. And guys, once you choose that new thought and you start going down that wavelength, you'll be gone. You'll be going down that frequency. And guys, you'll be like, oh, but I just go right back to negative. Great. You go through the process again. You go like, oh, okay, I'm abundant. Oh shit, now I'm thinking of this thing about being not abundant and not wealthy. Great. Awareness, pause, breathe, choose a new thought. You do it again. The universe flows consistently, right? So the more you do this throughout the day, the more you will actually create the habit of thinking positively, the more you will train yourself in the same way you were trained without knowing when you were between the ages of 0 to 7, when you were being conditioned without even knowing because you were like a sponge. In the same way, you can do it for yourself by doing this method. All right, guys? So this is, for me, an incredible way to start thinking more positively. For me, it's one of the only ways. There are other things you can do to directly influence your subconscious mind, which we'll go over in other videos. I have videos on the subconscious mind already that you can check out. But you bring all of these tools together. But guys, remember, if you're doing this, you will absolutely find that you're thinking more positively, more positive outcomes are coming into your life, more positive thoughts and ideas are automatically becoming the norm for you. And guys, life starts opening up when this starts happening. And so this is one of the most, in my eyes, important skills that you can develop. And so I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has been clear to you. But just remember, whenever those thoughts come up, have the awareness. That's the awareness that the thought is there. Awareness that it's not you. Pause and observe the thought. Come to the thought from the identity of the observer, not attaching yourself to the thought. Breathe and get out of your head. Get into the moment. And then choose a new thought. And again, guys, this can be happening all simultaneously within a second or two once you get good at this. It'll be happening automatically. It's not like you're going to be sitting there for 10 minutes trying to, remember all this and whatever. No, you will just start doing this automatically. But guys, the power of choosing your thoughts, and you do get to choose, cannot be overstated. And so if you are someone who wants to think more positively, you want to stop thinking in that victim mentality, that negative mentality, you want to stop having these negative things come into your life, then do this, because the world works inner to outer. And if you think negatively inwardly, you're going to get negativity outwardly. But if you think positively inwardly, your thoughts are positive, the energy you give off is positive, genuinely, authentically positive, that's what you'll get back in your outer world. And I've seen this happened way too many times for it not to be true. You can actually prove this scientifically, that the quantum leads to the physical, the metaphysical leads to the physical world follows the metaphysical. This has to do with the metaphysical guy's thought forms, energy, and if you apply this, it will work. Anyway, guys, hope that's helpful to you. Please let me know your thoughts. Please let me know your results. After this video's been up for a little bit, come back here and let me know how things have changed for you as you've applied this. As always, I love you, and I'll see you in the next video.